Hugo Wakefield, along with acting as a sort of Majestic 12 reality architect, also plays the role of Harvard psychiatrist John Mack. In the 90s, Mack would use holotropic breathwork and hypnotic regressions to recover the abduction memories of his patients. In this case, he aids in Margaret and Daniels, recreating Margaret's childhood home for her to re-experience her alien encounter and experience noesis, knowledge of her true soul self and her purpose on Earth, the key to fulfilling her purpose in her disclosure mission. Now, this part isn't even speculation. We basically know that this whole scene is inspired by real hypnotic regressions executed by people like John Mack, because Coleman Domingo, who plays Hugo Wakefield, basically admitted that. But here's where I'm going to speculate even more. Margaret's psychic powers are reactivated in her apartment by a red cardinal. Now, I could be completely off base here, but I think Red Cardinal is actually an homage to the CIA's Project Bluebird, which was the original name for its mind control efforts in what became MKUltra. Bluebird took its name from Maurice Maeterlinck's 1908 play, The Bluebird. The play, like Hansel and Gretel, revolves around two children searching for the bluebird of happiness, questing for answers and moving through shadow realms and encountering fantastical creatures and sometimes scary ones along the way. Former American alchemist Peter Lavender finds the play deeply meaningful in its hidden esoteric structure. On the surface, it's a children's fairy tale. Instead of finding the bluebird of happiness, every bird they catch escapes, changes color, or dies. They wake up on Christmas morning back in their own cottage and discover that their own pet turtle dove had been blue all along. The moral, like Siddhartha or The Alchemist, is that happiness isn't found in distant, exotic places. It's been at home all along. This also encapsulates the UFO issue. Searching for the alien artifacts and UFO crash retrievals are ingredients for disappointment. Lavenda says that the whole play is an initiatory process, like a Masonic initiation laid out in dramatic form. He says it's a coded ritual of consciousness transformation, which is precisely why he finds its connection to a consciousness-altering CIA program significant rather than coincidental. Number 5, let's get into some real UFO crashes depicted in this movie. In Disclosure Day, they show video of the Roswell wreckage and the Kecksburg UFO crash. I will say that the craft at Kecksburg in the movie was incorrectly portrayed as a flying saucer, when in reality it was shaped like a bell or acorn. The aliens here are also typical grays, which Bud Hopkins even said Spielberg based off of real experience or testimonies for Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Collection of drawings very similar to these that date from actually back into the late 60s and early 70s that Dr. Alan Hynek handed to Spielberg to use for his special effects. So those figures in that movie were based on accurate UFO research.
I think Roswell and Kecksburg crashes happened, and I won't get too deep into corroborating Roswell because honestly that deserves its own video. But Army Intelligence Officer Jesse Marcel held the wreckage in his hands, even showing it to his son. We even have a possible piece from the crash, which is made of bismuth, a very important material for anti-gravity experiments. Go check out my episodes with Thomas Townsend Brown and my interview with Bob Lazar if you want to know more about that. You said bismuth seemed to have come up, like that was something.
There is something about bismuth.
But I actually looked at one of these alleged Roswell pieces with Stanford professor Gary Nolan. And the godfather of UFO science himself, Hal Puthoff, called in to tell us about the piece's origins.
The story was that it was sent anonymously by someone claiming to be an Army officer, and written in the diary was that it was a piece from Roswell.
The Roswell film depicted in Disclosure Day is pretty explicit and intense. You see an injured alien. Was Spielberg going off of any tips he got from the inside?
I had to base our aliens on what people have reported who claim to have had close encounters of the third kind.
The movie also says that the Kecksburg crash cleanup was overseen by a civilian. This civilian is likely Dr. Eric Walker, alleged Majestic 12 member and president of Penn State. When UFO researcher Bill Steinman directly asked Walker about the Majestic 12, he said he'd known about them for decades. He also told Steinman that because he didn't understand extrasensory perception, he was going to be chasing his tail.